It is 22 minutes after 7 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from the Walker Aviation Museum, Robert Sherman back with us. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Good. Yeah, kind of just, I guess you say a fortuitous opportunity. We so happened to, your scheduled time to come visit us is here on Pearl Harbor Day. So.
That's right.
Now, you and I were talking here before we get into what Walker Aviation Museum does. It was... Well, for folks that don't know, the Walker Aviation Museum is a supports and spreads the history of the Roswell Army Airfield, Walker Air Force Base that was here on the south end of town for quite a few years, and of course also celebrating the history of the Cold War era and the role that this area served during that time.
Right.
That's really what the museum's all about. But speaking of Pearl Harbor, and today, December 7th, really, this base that we're talking about, I mean, it was in the works and in the plans when December 7th happened. But really, this base, the ramp up, the building is a product of what happened on December 7th, 1941. That's, because of what happened on that date, really, the rest is history for us here in Roswell because of that, isn't it?
Yeah, the war was, looming in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
The United States decided it needed 30,000 more pilots, and then December 7th came along, 1941, and Roswell was selected as an air pilot training base back in 1941, just late 41, and a $9 million construction started in February 42 on about 4,600 acres from a rancher by the name of David Chesser, and then got started on working on that, and the first class of students, about 146 students, graduated on June 1st, 1942.
Wow.
But
the first classes
this was not the actual pilot training. It was a pilot training, and then they came there for multi-engine
Gotcha.
pilot training. Yeah.
So this was kind of their next level or next step, next phase in their training.
As they went from pilot, graduated from that, multi-engine, and when they left Roswell, there's 14,000 of them.
Gotcha.
Bombardiers and pilots. Then they went on into like B-17s, B-24s.
Okay, so basically, when the pilots came here, they were already qualified to fly like single engine planes, your more smaller aircraft.
Right.
When they got here, they're training them to fly the heavies, the multi-engines, the ones that it requires more than They're basically learning to. They come from driving sports cars, learning to drive buses, kind of the thing, and they're learning the difference between driving a sports car and a bus, kind of thing.
Right.
So, very cool. I was gonna, of course, for folks that don't realize that was an integral part of this area during that time for folks that were born here, raised here. When the base was closed there in 69, I think it was
67.
67. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I know you're testing me.
They, that was a big impact here, but in that 20 some years. 20 plus years, 25 years, whatever you want to call it there, of really that base being here, it did a lot of things for our history or served a lot of roles here in our history. And obviously that the big part there being that gearing up, the training for those World War II pilots. And odds are pretty good if you were a World War II pilot crew, part of, whether it was B-17s or in the Pacific Theater, odds are pretty good. You were trained here in the grounds of Roswell, New Mexico, learning some of your training before you. Because I imagine did they go to another training facility after Roswell to learn more tactics and things, or was that it? That from here they go to war, pretty much.
I think it was pretty much because they had bombardier training and everything here, but they probably, of course, had to integrate into the aircraft that they were going into.
Sure, get familiarized with these specifics.
17 to 24s or B-17. Or B-29s later on, right?
Good deal.
Yep. So anyway, we've kind of come along since last month. We've got our flight simulators installed.
Good deal. And you've had a couple dry run tests on some folks?
Yeah. We have. We're going to have some students from Brenda Middle School come in December, but they've slipped that to second week in January.
Okay.
But I'll talk. We've had a good group came in from Sierra Middle School.
Okay.
And stuff like that. So, we've opened up and like I mentioned before, XL Energy we got a $10,000 grant from them. We got a couple $6,000 simulators, and the software is by Lockheed, and it's really good stuff. It's you can select any place you want to go to, like Istanbul, Turkey, and it gives you a map exactly where you are. Blah blah blah.
Nice.
You can pick different aircraft, different airliners, or F-22 Raptors, or what do you want to do to land there. And you can pick what time of day, and so it's
I imagine it's a lot more
cool.
fun to do that flying around in an F-22 versus
a
probably C-17 or something.
For the kids coming to visit, though, we have it set up with a 172.
Okay.
Just kind of a putt there to take off, and
something you get to see the sights with.
Fundamentals of flying, and then fundamentals of takeoff or landing.
But you got to learn to crawl before you walk, and if you want to learn to fly, they can't put you in the cockpit of the F-22. You got to work your way up to that one.
And we try to give them the basic round, analog instruments, and then of course get in the F-22 and the other airliners. You got the heads-up display.
Oh yeah,
all kinds of glass.
And then you get into worrying about fly-by-wire and all that. I imagine that comes into play. And for folks that aren't familiar with that, that's something that a lot of fighter aircraft and things use. It's basically, it's kind of a backup for the pilot. So if say the pilot decides he wants to bank left, he hits the controls to go left, but the computer actually decides whether that's a good move before it will allow the aircraft to do that. It's pretty much instantaneous, so you can't really tell as a pilot. But in essence, that's what fly-by-wire technology is.
Right.
In our aircraft, almost all of them, especially your fighters, have that capability in them. So
right now we're trying to coordinate with various folks. We've coordinated with Roswell Independent School District, of course, and we've met actually with all the principals of the middle schools and stuff. Ruben Bolaños, the STEM coordinator for Roswell Independent School District. Yeah. Sidney Gutierrez, charter school out at the base out there. And homeschoolers, Gateway School, All Saints Catholic, the Assurance Home, Civil Air Patrol, and EAA, the Experimental Aircraft Association. Matter of fact, the museum is just now, in the last few days, we're trying to team up with the Civil Air Patrol and with the Experimental Aircraft Association.
Oh, cool.
Because they're working with kids building, I think the EAA getting ready to start building an aircraft, a little aircraft.
Gotcha.
And so we're going to, I saw the article in the paper where the kids were flying, youth, and so I thought, this is something we sure could team with. We could help them and they could help us. And so we've been meeting together and plan on doing that. I plan on becoming actually an auxiliary member of the Civil Air Patrol myself.
Nice.
Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, the Mexico Youth Challenge, several churches. We're starting to call youth groups there. And homeschoolers, what we're looking for, all you homeschoolers out there listening to this.
All right.
If you're, maybe 16, 17, 18 years old, a homeschooler, we'd like to get you out and get you really familiar with the flight simulators. And since you maybe have a more flexible schedule, we get to have a school come out and we need some instructors for the flight simulators.
Okay.
So we could say, hey, Mr. Homeschooler person, could you come out?
Sure.
Woman or guy, whatever. And
youth teaching youth here.
Yeah, you can come out and teach the kids how to, some of the basics that they have. They only have that anywhere from 15 to 20, 25 minutes maximum on the simulator because of come out for a 2-hour thing and we 8 to 12 folks and we kind of split them between a career briefing.
You want to get everybody an opportunity.
Stuff and then flight simulator stuff.
Yeah,
so,
very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would guess just because I know in my time in the Air Force, and the pilot, they have quite a checklist of things they have to do while they're, and they basically checking off as they're going because there's so many switches and knobs in that cockpit there that they have a checklist. All right, mask this to that, that. And so I imagine
it can be a little overpowering.
Yeah. Absolutely. So in the simulator, you don't want to get too lost in the weeds with all that stuff because kids are going to want to sit in there and start flying around. They don't want to. All right, master or what? All right, fuel pump, ACU what?
But the purpose of our orientation with school kids is to kind of give them, stick. Not with this. It's not coming there to use that as a video game. It's kind of like do this, and if you're interested, then after they get through, they get a little card that says I'm an EduStation pilot with a number on it, and We keep their first name and their date and the number. They were like the 37th student that came through.
Nice.
So when they come back and we're open, hopefully soon, full time, they can show it to the person that's working there.
Yeah.
Said, oh, okay, you've had experience. You can go straight back and continue to work on this flight simulator.
It's a great opportunity for kids that want to pursue careers in flight and things. And if you want to get there and get experience and log before some of your formal training kind of stuff happens.
Yeah.
Because I imagine that simulator time with the cards and everything, keeping track, that'll help with logging hours and all that for when you're pursuing your pilot's license and learning how to do that, if that is the route you want to take here. But really, getting that card and everything is kind of like your library card to have instant access to within the hours of the facility.
I even gave it a couple adults yesterday.
Nice.
Some guys from the EAA and Civil Air Patrol and stuff. And
That's
I said,
great.
Okay, you've been through here, you've seen this, so you come back in. So anyway.
Yeah, that's great. So
on the 9th of November, we had 24 8th grade students from Sierra Middle School. And again, we only have groups of 12. So the first 12 came in. The other 12 went to Eastern Mexico to see some medical display stuff and then one of the aircraft organizations on the flight line.
Oh, cool.
And so when they first come in, the first 12, we give them a quick history briefing of the Roswell Army Airfield and let them know where all the model airplanes are. And anyway, then we set them down and they get about a 18-minute orientation on the flight simulator after they get a little history of the Walker Museum.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so we break them into two groups and we send 6 over and 6 watch some career videos. Okay. That's why, running 3 people on each simulator is about the maximum we can handle. That's why we say 12.
Okay.
8 is actually ideal because you got 2 on each simulator and they can kind of trade positions and do stuff. But anyway, our 11 subjects that we show them through YouTube, while the other ones are doing the flight simulator, is one is what the subjects are quickly is determining your best career pursuit based on a Venn diagram, which is like 3 circles, and it's very interesting and it's rated pretty high among the kids. Matter of fact, I have the kids have all of these 11 videos, and they're rated 1 through 5. And they put on if they're male, female, and what their age is.
Okay.
So we can get some data feedback and say, you know what, if you're a woman and you're in this age group, they really don't like this particular video. And it's kind of just a waste.
Sure.
So we can maybe adjust which ones they see when they do come in.
Sure,
So try
gotcha.
to do a better job.
Get the more bang for their buck there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the second one is science, technology, and math overview of careers. Third one is careers in aviation. Then we show them a day in the life of a wind turbine engineer. Then what it's like to be an aircraft mechanic.
Nice.
Energy careers is the next one. And then oil well worker career. What does a registered nurse do? That's one of them. Then we show them one that says architectural engineering versus architecture. What's the difference?
Nice.
And how to become an automotive mechanic. And the last one is kind of for fun.
All right.
And it's roughnecks at work drilling an oil pipe connection. And these guys are out there throwing chains around stuff and doing stuff.
Seeing the...
It's not necessarily a STEM job, but it's a job that you think, seriously?
Sure.
That's pretty dangerous stuff, the way they're doing stuff. But anyway,
kind of see how the sausage
it's kind
is
of
made
a fun
little bit.
thing.
Yeah.
It's about a 2-minute video of these guys working out in the field. So anyway, then they flip-flop, and that group goes over and flies the simulators, and the other ones come back.
Cool. Well, that's great because they really, and obviously for folks that really aren't aware that, Walker Aviation Museum is part of their mission and mantra here is to get more students interested in STEM career fields and STEM technology. Obviously, the aviation industry is full of folks in that career field, but not necessarily even part of that. Many of the things like you're talking about with the nursing, with the oil field engineering, and things
like automotive engineer.
Automotive engineering.
If we can substitute this one that we have to one that maybe we can get from Crumlin.
Yeah.
Because they have an actual program tied in with Eastern Mexico
for their
University. And so they can say, like, wow, this is right here in Roswell, and a little short blip on that. So
yeah, absolutely.
We're going to continue to modify that, and we're trying to work with Crumlin and other, STEM type career folks in the area.
Getting more of our youth.
Even Leprino Foods, if we could get them to
big time.
give us a 3-minute video of.
You don't think there's a lot of science and engineering going on over there at Leprino? It's all down to science over there.
Yeah.
That's that. So it's great. Hopefully, kids coming out playing on the simulator here or doing experience in some of this. hopefully they get the bug, and next thing you know, they're our next nurse or airplane mechanic.
That's what we're trying to do. Is kind of
Yeah.
like when I was at that age, I wish I'd been able to go to something and people give you a kind of a shotgun view of a lot of different careers, and you go, maybe just 2 or 3 folks out of a big group, or just 1 or 2, say a light bulb will go off in their head, and they said, "That's what I want to do," you
Yeah.
know, and then go ahead and pursue that,
Yeah.
where they didn't even have any inkling beforehand, like, wow, I didn't even know that existed, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is great. So
And then when they leave, we give them a list of about 40 or 50 similar videos that are on YouTube.
oh, cool.
And some of those are a little long, that 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 minutes, which you don't have time to mix all those in. So they can go home, get on their computer, and look at them. And then we give them a list of about 100 plus STEM careers and a little note on top. Go to YouTube, look these up. You
Learn about them,
if it looks interesting to you, and let them follow that up.
Awesome. Well, good deal. And the great part is, if 1 or 2 kids take advantage of this, then the problem is just a success, because that's at the end of the day. If one kid all of a sudden decides to pursue a career in STEM technology because of their trip to the museum, or as part of some of these events here, then I call that a success.
Right,
That's great. So hopefully we get more than that, but that's the idea.
We've got our 2 touchscreens up and running now, and thanks to Steve Griffin, he kind of helped us get it like it nice. We put all the electric wires down like a little covering, on the
Made it
wall.
look all professional.
Yeah. So now when we open up, you can come in and they're on. You just walk up and touch it, and you get a history of the Walker, about 2.5 minutes, and then one's a history of the Atlas missile. And by the end of the year, he's up in Albuquerque now. He's going to come down and put 2 more subjects at least on each screen, so you have 3 to pick from.
Oh, cool.
You can come up and get like a 2.5 minute briefing with video and stuff of some history of Walker. So
Very cool.
That's up and running. And Steve Griffin is a retired Navy guy, and he was a big professional weather technician, and he brought in a lot of equipment that he kind of kept over the years that is really kind of really high tech, back in those days. Of weather stuff. So he has that mounted on the wall there next to one of those touchscreens, and
Cool.
we're kind of getting that up to speed, so you can come in and get a lot of information on, wow, what's that? Oh, that's how they measure the rainfall. This is how they do that. Like it's a little thing that comes into a little funnel, and every time there's that 100 or 1/10 of an inch, it flips over and boop, makes a little sound. Anyway,
That's a big deal around here. We don't get rained at often. So.
that's true. Yeah, 1/10 of an inch. Yeah. So
Someone spit on it.
and we're not open yet. And the reason being is I noticed, I think there was a flight yesterday around noon, but that's just back and forth. And right now it's usually early in the morning and late in the evening. And if we try to open up like from 3 to 9 or 9 to 3,
Yeah.
then there's nobody there.
Sure.
It's just kind of crazy. So we're kind of right now working with the students and kids
Okay.
and stuff, but
Are y'all doing a?
we hope to open around hopefully January.
Okay. Are
February.
you doing any kind of by appointment types of, like you said, if you're a youth
Oh,
group
sure.
or something?
Yeah.
If you call or reach out to the museum,
We did like last week. We did maybe 2 or 3 folks
Good
come
deal.
out, and that was some youth. But we're looking forward to getting some, like I said, homeschoolers and
Sure.
other folks that are
So if
maybe
you're-
have a different flexibility. And even Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, we can come out in the evenings,
Sure.
and even on Saturdays or
Yeah.
something like
So
that.
like a church groups, or
Correct.
like you said, scouting, or any of these kind of, or maybe even some school clubs or something. Maybe there's like the Goddard or Roswell High. I know they got some like their STEM related clubs and things.
Yeah,
Maybe
absolutely.
they'd like to come and make a trip out to the museum and schedule something. Please reach out. Have your teachers or instructors or your student leaders reach out to Robert and the museum staff here, and let's make that happen.
Before things go back, wafbmuseum.org is our website.
Yes, you can go there and find everything we're talking about.
And you can click on Amazon Smile in that area, and so you can buy something from Amazon, and we get a small little percentage of that.
Yeah, and there's a link. You can do that through the Walker Air Force Base Museum link. That way, what I recommend is go through that link and then bookmark it on your own browsers. And that way, every time you go to Amazon, you go through that bookmark.
It'll come up and say, "Don't you want it?"
Yeah. And then now every time you shop through Amazon, a little bit of your purchase, some money will go back to the museum, which is
Right.
enough people do that. That's a nice little chunk of change at the end of the month. So,
And of course, we have to thank the people that keep us in operation. And this is over the past year, and hopefully we'll get started up again here. But Roswell Toyota, XL Energy, Pioneer Bank, Featherstone Development, Phil Cathy, and Dr. Paul Langstrom, and Lloyd Hughes, Glenn's Furniture, giving us a nice big table, some other stuff. Aerospell has been a big supporter in the past. So, we're just kind of plugging along and
good deal.
Hopefully get back to normal here pretty soon.
Yeah, and if you'd like to financially help and support, not only through the Amazon Smile tab there, but you can become a member, make donations direct through the WAFBmuseum.org website. If you want to learn more about the mission of the museum, things like that, find it all there at the website. If you're interested in serving as a volunteer, you want to be on the board, always looking for fresh faces to be a part of the board and part of the planning.
That is a very big thing, because right now we've got simulators, great, but we only have 1 or 2 people that are available during the day to help out.
Sure.
So that's why we're looking for homeschoolers, anybody.
Yeah, retirees, homeschoolers.
Even you, Mike.
Even me. Okay. I'm not available during the day, but but yeah, if you love to do this kind of stuff, this is.
I didn't think I saw 117 on there.
Yeah. Although they flew around this area.
I know they did. Yeah,
they flew all over this area.
Matter of fact, I saw them when they flew formation over on the way heading out to the Middle East.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard they were coming. I saw formations of them headed, going from west to east.
I was in some of those, not in the 117s. I was probably in a C-17 or something following up as a crew there. Yeah. But yeah, I was part of those groups back in the 90s when they were doing those launches. And
how much time we got?
We got about 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So yeah.
5 minutes, okay.
Yeah.
Do you want me to run through that quick history?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I kind of lied. I said last time we were going to talk a little bit about the Cold War, but we'll do that next month.
Okay.
But I'm just going to review an interesting history of the B-29 boxcar and a boxcar by the name of the Great Artiste.
Okay. Yeah, obviously, being Pearl Harbor Day, that kind of kicked off our participation in World War II. Well, obviously, the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
So this is kind of a story on the ending after what they did to us on Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, which Roswell played a vital role in some of the activities that went on as part of that.
Well, later on, the planes came back to Roswell. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So they were out of Tinian. But anyway, Major Charles Sweeney of the 393rd Bomb Squadron commander, he flew a B-29 called the Great Artiste, and he was flying the Blast Measurement Instrumentation Aircraft, which it was, on the 6th of August Hiroshima mission.
Okay. So basically its role was to monitor the when the bomb hit in the smoke cloud and do measurements on that. Gotcha.
So Major Sweeney and the Great Artiste were scheduled to carry the second atomic bomb on the second mission, and the second target was Kokura.
Okay.
And because of weather, it changed that. Anyway,
gotcha.
The blast measurement instrumentation was supposed to be moved from the Great Artiste over to Boxcar to make room for the atomic bomb on the Great Artiste. However, due to moving up the scheduled mission from 11th to 9th of August due to predicted weather, they didn't have time to make that change of equipment. So they said, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to put the bomb on Boxcar, and we'll just take the crew off the Great Artiste, which was going to fly that mission, and move them over, and they'll fly Boxcar.
Okay.
And the Boxcar crew went over and flew with the Great Artiste with the instrumentation. So basically, which they were going to do anyway. They were going to put the instrumentation in Boxcar, but
so the guys, all the training and everything, had to swap aircraft.
Yeah, just had to swap the aircraft
because that's a lot easier than swapping all the gear inside of the aircraft.
I think that Enola Gay was the only one that had the name on the front of the nose, and Boxcar and the Great Artiste did not have their name painted on the nose until after all this took place. Okay, so they're just looked like, unless you memorize the number on the tail or something.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, they were indistinguishable other than the tail number.
So when the Boxcar arrived at Kokura, it flew 3 bombing runs over the city, lasting about 50 minutes total, and they could see the target was so covered up with weather, they went to the alternate target of Nagasaki.
Okay.
So that was the alternate target. The atomic bomb Fat Man was dropped on Nagasaki at 10:58 a.m., 9 August, 1945. It's a 21-kiloton weapon, exploded 500 meters above the ground, and it actually went off 1.5 miles northwest of the planned aiming point.
Okay.
So it didn't really hit exactly where it's supposed
Well,
to.
that's the thing about nukes. You just have to be close.
They're up there pretty high. So it was approximately 44% of the city was destroyed.
Wow.
And part of it was protected by the intervening hills. But anyway, then due to a failure of a fuel transfer pump, Boxcar, after it dropped the bomb, had 640 gallons of fuel that it could not use. So it diverted to Okinawa instead of Iwo Jima,
Okay.
the land. Boxcar also could not contact the Okinawa tower due to radio failure. So they fired some flares. They'd lost one engine on final approach due to lack of fuel, and it landed 30 miles an hour faster than normal. Just as it touched down, it lost a second engine due to lack of fuel.
Oh, wow.
And
It was coming in on fumes.
booking along, and it hit the brakes, and it was able to perform a fairly high-speed 90-degree turn at the end of the runway to prevent a crash.
Wow. So they came in hot.
Yep.
Wow.
And then the last little interesting thing was the war correspondent William Lawrence of the New York Times was on board the Great Artiste. And, of course, he didn't know exactly what airplane he's on. He thought he was just, on the observing, not on the bomb-dropping one. And not realizing that Boxcar and Great Artiste had changed places, he mistakenly reported the Great Artiste had dropped the second atomic bomb, went to the New York Times.
Because he thought he was on. And little did he know they swapped the aircraft.
Okay, none of the B-29s except Enola Gay had their name, like I mentioned before.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
that was kind of why, for a lot of times, there's some confusion on what plane actually dropped the
Interesting.
second bomb. And they
That's
thought it was the
cool.
Great Artiste when actually it was Boxcar.
I'm very curious because I know where the Enola Gay is. That's in Washington.
Right.
I wonder where Boxcar and the Great Artiste are there. I imagine they're sitting somewhere. You
They
don't
might
think...
be at Dayton, Ohio. I'm not sure.
Okay. I'm curious if they're, maybe they're right
I was
pad
there
or
at
something.
Dayton. That's a wonderful museum.
Yeah.
You don't want to go to that museum and then come to our museum. Because I think when I was there, they had 360 aircraft inside the hangar.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just like unbelievable.
That's a no. Yeah, they're probably second, and I don't even know if a second's the right word, to the Air and Space Museum as far as inventory and
It's crazy.
facilities to do an Air and Space Museum.
That's true.
Because I know the Enola Gay you can actually go see. That's in Dulles, in the Smithsonian Air and Space Dulles Annex, which is it's not in the. If you go to D.C., there's the Air and Space Museum downtown in the city. That's the main museum. It's not in there. They have an annex that's out by the airport in Virginia, and that's where they've got the space shuttle, the Enola Gay, an SR-71 Blackbird. I believe there's a Concorde in there.
Yeah.
A few other historic aircraft as well. So.
Yeah. They have those too also in Dayton. I know they have Concorde and all those SR-71.
Weirdly enough, though, I have not seen, other than like on a stick at Holloman, I have never been to a static of a 117 since I've been out. There's a couple out there.
117?
The F-117.
Oh, F-117.
Yeah, they've got a few statics out there, but it's not many.
Huh.
And I have not seen some. Matter of fact, it's funny because I follow some of the F-117 stuff on Facebook.
Yeah.
And you'll see like one of the, I don't know if it's that Dayton or another one of those, but they were just getting one of the F-117s that I remember very well, Shaba, which was Ghost, 817. I think they were just showing it going to one of these museums, and they're going to make it static display worthy. And I was like, that's Shaba. That aircraft tail number was Shaba. That was, how you're talking about Boxcar. And
Yeah.
That one was Shaba, which is Arabic for ghost. And
Really?
that's what the Iraqis called the 117 during the Gulf War was Shaba, ghost.
Really?
And and on the 117s, they don't have nose art like a B-17 or a B-29 or anything like that. They do their art, and it's only out during wartime, and it's on the bay door of the aircraft. You don't see it to the public generally because unless the doors are open, you don't see it. It generally was on static.
The aircraft.
Yeah, it's so you have to open the bay door and then you see it. But Shaba 817, it's got a big like winged ghost, pterodactyl ghost bird skeleton thing, and that's Shaba. But it's really cool. So when you talk about Boxcar, and that's what that is. It's kind of the crew chiefs, the pilots. They kind of adopt and to make that aircraft their own, and like each aircraft has a big set of basically owner's manual, tech data, everything of maintenance, everything that's been done. It's a very accurate record of that aircraft, and usually in the back of it, it's got all of the same history stuff, like what's its tail number, what's its bay art, its design, when was it incorporated, who did all that. And so all of that's in those books. So it's really cool.
Yeah.
So when we talk about Boxcar and the Artiste, that's a storied history in aircraft and military. So I just wanted to share that real quick since we were talking all
That's
about
interesting.
that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Our current board members, of course, are myself and Katie Yates is our secretary. Sandy Correa is our secretary. No, and Katie Yates is our treasurer. Bob Donnell, Juliana Halverson, Judy Armstrong, and Jerry Cloffer, and Friar Jorek Nowacki. He actually is a member of the Civil Air Patrol.
Nice. So does he fly?
No, I don't know exactly.
Okay.
I just met with the Civil Air Patrol, and they gave me the paperwork to kind of sign up and do some stuff. So.
Cool. Good deal.
But anyway, we're trying to get some of those Civil Air Patrol people. They could come over and help us out. We just need more people on our board, and we need people of, all different ages come out there and get oriented. Peggy Donnell, Bob Donnell's wife, she helps out with the flight simulator. She is actually a pilot.
Oh, wow.
So she makes us all look bad. Like, okay.
Like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, she's good.
Again, wafbmuseum.org is a resource to find everything you need here.
And we need you. We need people to
Come
help
on
us
out. Me volunteers. Come be a part. And love to have you.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, Robert, as always, appreciate the visit. Thank you very much for spending time. Happy Pearl Harbor Day. And folks, get out there and do some research. Learn what this day is all about.
That's right.
If you don't know, go learn it.
That's right.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
And come out and visit us when we get open, and we'll let you know. I'll probably send you a message, and you can make announcements.
Yeah, we'll get you to come out, and we'll do some stuff. And don't forget, have a Merry Christmas, too.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
a couple weeks away.
Okay.
All right. Take care.